Just gonna hit beautiful. So thank you everybody for joining us today. My name again is Gabrielle. If you do have any questions today, please feel free to take yourself off mute and ask questions. Alternatively, I will be monitoring the chat function. So if you do feel more comfortable writing your questions into the chat function here, please feel free to do so. I also just want to start by acknowledging the land on which we meet of the Larrakia people, and I pay my respects to those past, present, and emerging. So I'm going to hand the reins over to Tim and Hayley from NBN. These guys are going to go through a lot with us today on their agenda. So without further ado, I might as well hand over the reins.
Thank you very much. And also just to extend that acknowledgement on behalf of NBN on the land that we meet today, and allowing NBN to come and join one of your business monthly meetings, which is exciting. So you have myself, Tim Nicol, 30 years in the territory, currently work for NBN as the regional manager across the NT, and now we are delving into the Kimberley region, which is new for us. And my colleague, Hayley Hardy, who's our community engagement specialist across the same region. So today what we're going to do is just take you across the sort of NBN network, where we are across the territory, and what we do in the regional sort of engagement and delivery side of the business, which covers mainly regional and remote, and less so the urban side of things, even though Darwin's classified as regional, and sort of just unbunker some of the sort of, not misunderstandings, but what people might know about NBN and what's out there for you, and making sure that you've got the best connection. So we'll drive along. How long have we got?
You guys booked in for about 45 minutes today.
Cool. Yep. Please smack me on the hand if I'm
waffling.
I'll do that. Yeah. Oh, we're just clicking on it.
Should just be a click. Yeah, perfect.
So what we might do is we'll just start with NBN technology across the territory. We're in a pretty fortunate jurisdiction when it comes to NBN connectivity. Most of our regional areas, including Darwin, are fibre to the premise. So that means that we've got fibre coming from the house into our networks, which means that your connections are the fastest available nationally. And then from those points, so we have those in Darwin, Palmerston, Coalinga, Jabiru, Nhulunbuy, Yirrkala, Katherine and Alice Springs. So what does that actually mean for a business? It means that they can connect to business fibre plans or residential. We highly recommend businesses that have a number of staff use a business plan, because you get better service. And you can get up to gigabit download speeds. Outside of that, Howard Springs, Humpty Doo, Lambles Lagoon, Noonamar, Berry Springs, Livingston, Fly Creek, Darwin River and Wagga Beach, which is mainly the Litchfield council footprint, is our fixed wireless network, where now this is a little bit different to fixed line. Fixed wireless works similar to mobile connection, where we have an antenna on the roof of a house and that's pointed to a tower. So that's those businesses, and we've recently just upgraded that network to allow for higher speed plans and also a wider footprint. So we're getting a lot more people onto our fixed wireless network and off of satellite. We do have some copper still active in the territory. There's some parts of Alice Springs and also Tennant Creek. We are proposed that they will be flipped over in the next sort of 18 months. So that'll be our last little bit of copper that will come onto fibre. The majority of Alice Springs is already available for fibre. So businesses that are in Alice Springs can order a service. And then outside of that, which is more our remote and very remote, we have our Sky Muster satellite product. So that's in our sort of remote communities. One of the misunderstandings people do come across is they may hear from other providers that NBN's not available to them where they are. because we're a statutory internet provider nationally with the Australian government, we have a responsibility to make sure everyone can get connected to the internet. So if you do have a business or you know someone that's out in a remote community, they can connect through our Sky Muster product. So the one thing to note is that installations in most cases are free when you're connecting through to an NBN product through a retail service provider. And we back up equipment if it gets damaged by storm or if it's faulty. And it's Australian owned and data is secure here in Australia, which you may not see if you're on other types of technology that we are now starting to see into the market. So in saying that, we'll flip into the next slide. So we've talked about what the territory looks like. I think one of the most important things that's also a bit of not a myth, but people may not understand is the amount of data that we're currently consuming via the internet, if that's obviously via your mobile data plan on your phone or in-home NBN connection. Over the last sort of 10 to 12 years, our data usage has gone tenfold. So we're back in 2013, we were using 40 gigabyte of data each year. And at that time, there was no Netflix. We didn't have 4K TV. Our gaming consoles weren't online. They were just a plug and play into your TV. So you can see over the last sort of 13 years that we've progressed quite significantly in streaming services, which is why we've now gone tenfold on data usage. So what Hayley and I see regularly on the ground is that people that have transitioned off copper onto fibre, which would have happened around 2015, people are still on a very slow internet speed on their plan as that changeover and probably haven't had a look at what plan they're on. So we're seeing a lot of people that would have been okay in 2015 on a 25 megabyte down, 5 megabyte up plan, still trying to get the same experience in 2025, watching Netflix, multiple handsets in the house, etc. So we highly recommend, and I'll show at the end of the slide deck how we can get you to check your address to make sure what plan you're on and what's available. But you can see there from 2025 onwards to 2032, the data usage is going to double. And in some projections we've seen of recent reviews of this sort of progression is that it may even spike higher than that with the introduction of obviously AI and technology that will come from what AI ends up building for us from a technology and data usage. So yeah, it is very important that people are aware of that on where we're tracking. So we normally have a bit of a fun slide in there, and you can probably see it here, which we ask people if, what would be the biggest day of the year that data is used. We give, is it cricket? Is it Christmas Day when everyone's together? Is it Fortnite download? I can't remember what the fourth one is.
Yeah.
But it's those three. And actually Fortnite, which is what a lot of kids play these days online, is actually the biggest data usage one day a year for the annual download.
Yeah.
Wow.
So sounds like you know Fortnite very well. Yeah. So and that's around about March, 24 terabytes of data just in one day. So yeah, it's huge. And the network holds up and is fine through that period.
So if there ever is a crash, we know why.
Well,
really not, of course.
it can be a number of things if the network goes down. One, depending on what technology you're on to start with.
Yeah.
But if you are on our fibre footprint or what we call a fixed line, in most cases it may be someone has dug up a cable or cut a cable.
Okay.
Yeah. Or there actually has been planned outages.
Yeah.
Where they're up updating hardware and software in the system. And that can happen not only at the NBN side, but that can also happen at the retail service provider side. So in most cases, they'll let you know through the retail service provider. But as I said, at the end of the slide, I'll show you how you can check your address and also how you can register your address for any outages. So if outages do come up, you'll get an email. Yes, if anyone's got any questions, please feel free to shoot them through. Why connectivity is important in regional Australia? I think that's the title.
Connectivity matters.
Yes, matters.
Yep.
So very close. Obviously, making sure everyone's connected is important around regional businesses. And obviously, particularly for this sector, there are a lot of businesses that are across the territory. So education, healthcare, and emergency service all do depend on fast, reliable internet. One of our roles between Hayley and I is to serve as emergency management liaison officers for NBN and between NBN and the Northern Territory government. So we've got a data sharing agreement. So if we do have a natural disaster, we step into that when an emergency management core group gets stood up. We sit in between and bring information in and out of that working group to make sure we know what's down, how long it's going to take to be put back online so that people understand. Also, if we've got bushfires and if there's infrastructure that may be threatened by fires, we can give that information so resources can be pointed. So, and part of that, we also have some equipment that we can deploy. So we have a flyaway kit, satellite kit that can be flown in a small Cessna plane. There's 3 suitcase sizes and set up on the ground. And also we have a muster truck, which if you're going out, anyone's out at Barunga this weekend, we'll be out there offering free community Wi-Fi at the event. And that piece of equipment's either deployed for an emergency or put at community events. So that's where you may see us around. And it is only Hayley and myself. So yes, it's you get the same. You have to put up with both of us. Yeah, that's it. It's just us. And a big thing, obviously, digital connectivity drives economic growth, and particularly for this region, one out of the 3 main industry sectors that use high levels of data is the tourism industry. And believe it or not, it's actually in caravan parks. So caravan parks nationally are starting to make sure that they've got high-speed NBN services across their infrastructure due to young families travelling now and young kids wanting to watch Bluey. So streaming services within a caravan.
The expectation from the travellers that Wi-Fi is sort of included in the cost of staying in a caravan park.
It's starting to get to that point now.
Yeah. As well.
Yeah. So
like it used to have to be something you pay for. Now it feels like it's almost an expectation that Wi-Fi is included, right?
Yeah, definitely an expectation. We're coming across a lot of properties across Darwin that aren't offering a very good service when they easily could. So then it's having that discussion around, are you on a business plan with NBN through your provider? And here's some information about where you could go, because once you uplift that speed from a business perspective, and if you are a business that's offering free Wi-Fi, that just boosts that connectivity across your property, which the experience then for the end user is so much better. Maybe that, some businesses might not want people to be sitting in their hotel room, but I think the reality is, not everyone wants to be using their data if they're out and about, or if there is even data service available, as we know, depending on what service you're with, Optus or Telstra or Vodafone, may not be available in the area that you've gone on a holiday. So we do a lot of work in trying to, feed that information back. And I guess hence why coming to tourism top end and making sure that people know we're here on the ground. We're here to offer support and information, and so businesses have got the best, product for that reason. Because I think nowadays, if you've got a young family, apart from that most of the time they'll be watching it off their iPad, so you want to be able to connect your iPad to the in-house Wi-Fi.
You may be circling back to this question, but do you know if there's plans, opportunities, etc., where potentially they can pay for it in the peak season and then decrease it in the off-peak season.
Yep, that definitely is. Nowadays, internet plans are monthly, and you can vary your plan throughout that. So there's no long-term contract.
Right.
The only product we have that's a long-term product is our enterprise Ethernet, which I have a business slide which I'll go through very quickly.
Right.
But everything else is month by month, so you can upscale and downscale on that need. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's quite common, you know, a lot of our residents or businesses throughout the Kimberleys and the NT that are completely seasonal, they turn it off for 6 months of the year that they're not there and they're not paying nothing for it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think the last one is, which really, I think it harnesses that question. I think about speeds and more connectivity to
Minimize the
we can move it.
Sorry,
for everyone online, we have extra squares and boxes on our screen, so it kind of covers some of the information that we see on our end. So as long as you can all see it perfectly on your end, that's good.
It probably goes to Molly's question around, you know, the need for people wanting connection and that, you know, there is that demand is slowly getting there. And we have seen that. So the three industries, just to cover that one off, obviously caravan parks, dental facilities because of x-rays and having to hold compliant at data. And the last one, which we've seen a massive growth through COVID, funerals, because since COVID, everyone streams funerals online. So just some interesting trends through disruption. And businesses having to pivot. Yeah. Here we go. Business plans. So what Hayley and I come across on a regular basis is we see businesses still on residential plans, which is not a bad thing, but it doesn't give the support to businesses that businesses probably expect and how they would like to be treated when they're connected to the internet. So they're running a business, they can't afford for it to be down, and they want to be able to talk to someone personally. So from a residential plan, we have speeds that vary from 100 megabytes or 50 megabytes down right up to 1 gigabyte down in speed. Then we flip over to business plans where we have a more better support behind the plans, but we also have faster upload speeds. So where businesses are undertaking obviously uploading of videos or content and having to share information more so than just receiving, the business plans are set up for that. So three main ones are 250, 100, 500, 200 and 1,400. So you're getting a lot less buffering and what we call choking when a business is trying to upload information. So what comes with that is business NBN service. So there are service level agreements that you can negotiate with a business plan with a retail service provider on what sort of backup service that you want from like a 12-hour, 7-hour or a 4-hour backup. So if something does happen and it goes down, there is someone onto that straight away instead of it being into a much more broader residential plan. And it really does come down to speed, service, reliability, and businesses being treated like a business instead of just a homeowner.
It's so important for our industry, especially for accommodation providers. A lot of reviews that we've seen over the past will come down to their Wi-Fi speed, and that could be the review that has a customer that books with them or doesn't book with them, especially if they work in a corporate field. So quite important. Yeah,
exactly. So, and the price point difference from a residential to business is not huge. So it might be like an extra $50 a month on some of these plans, which provides a much better experience at the end. I didn't put an enterprise product slide in here, but an enterprise product is different again. It's where you will be locked into a contract, but you'll have a dedicated single fiber point to your business. So instead of how it currently works, 32 connections come off one strand of fiber in residential and business. But if you go to an enterprise Ethernet you'll be separated out from the 32 that come off one strand and be your own separate. So you're not having to share sort of one little hair. It's tiny,
Not even,
like it's
yeah.
tiny. It's the diameter of a human hair. So that's the difference. But you pay for that, and that's mainly you pay for. It's a different type of equipment that goes into your business, and also sometimes it costs to have the infrastructure laid into the underground infrastructure to have that single point, depending on what's currently in the ground. Upgrades. So we've recently done a whole heap of upgrades on that fixed wireless network that I quickly touched on at the start. So that's in the Litchfield footprint, and that's nationally 800,000 premises. A significant investment from NBN and the federal government to upgrade that. So we have 17 towers that cover that Litchfield footprint. So we're seeing speeds now up to 200 megabytes down in some areas, and the footprint being much wider. So we've seen people come off Sky Muster, which has now allowed us to upgrade that service as well. So we're seeing faster speeds and uncapped plans now on Sky Muster, where previously we had data caps on satellite products. So all this upgrade is, obviously offering end users a much better experience and more product option for them on the ground. There are no business products within the fixed wireless or the satellite muster product. And the reason for that is that, we're utilising the maximum, I wouldn't say bandwidth, but the maximum product allowance on a residential service. So business products are more for fixed line. Just wanted to clarify that. And moving forward, obviously we've had in the technology space, there's been an introduction of different types of technology with low orbit. Our Sky Muster satellites are 32,000 kilometres up, where low orbit's only about 1,500 kilometres above Earth. So technology has changed. When we launched ours in 2015, our Sky Muster, they run out of fuel, I think batteries, when they talk about fuel in 2030. So we're now exploring options around what a new satellite strategy will look like for NBN, if that's a LEO low orbit satellite product, low Earth orbit satellite product, or what we do with our existing Sky Musters. So hopefully in the next couple of months we'll have some indication of which way the business is heading in there. So
Do you predict there'll be any downtime on the service during that switchover?
No, and that'll be part of the strategy on making sure there's resilience. The interesting thing is we are the statutory internet provider, so we've got a responsibility to make sure everyone's connected to the internet. Telstra have what we call the USO, which is the universal service obligation to make sure everyone can have a phone and connect to a
landline. Yeah.
So that's the USO has been reviewed, and we may see some sort of integration with a statutory internet provider USO moving forward. So there's quite a number of things going on in this space around connectivity and how people stay, because we're now starting to see handsets talking to low orbit satellites. So this whole technology is disrupting what we've known previously. So everyone's having to pivot and come up with what the future looks like.
So much evolution in
No,
that.
it's great.
So quickly.
Doesn't help that I was watching Black Mirror last night and I've got my mind in 100 different places.
I still watch that. Someone said I should. So moving forward for NBN, there are some exciting things on the horizon, particularly for those that are on our fibre network and also HFC. We don't have any HFC in the territory, which is hybrid fibre coaxial, which is the old Ozstar cable. If you ever lived in South Australia or New South Wales, that's how you got your pay TV. We plug fibre into the end of that cable and shoot it down streets to give high-speed connectivity. which are on the same speeds as fibre, but a little bit different technology. So in September, we'll be upgrading the speeds on those networks. And that's something that we've been working through retail service providers with, on tripling the speeds. So people are on like 100 megabyte down plan now will go to a 250, those on a 500, etc. There'll be new technology will be rolled out with that. So the white box you may see on your wall at your home or in your business will be changed over. Those are on a 1 gigabyte plan that will double to 2 gigabyte availability. So, and that also is the same for business plans. So business plans are also getting upgraded and the price point reduced. So that helps level up the playing field for regional businesses and enhance particularly the work regional and remote. And looks like people have already spoken to their retail service provider on those upgrades. So that's something exciting for us in September to look out for. I do a lot of ums, and I must warn people. Haley's counting this time, I'm not sure. So for us as NBN Local, one of our main elements, we have 4 pillars that we work towards. One is local relationships. The other one is regional connectivity. And we have an emergency management, and then we also have what we call digital ability. So across those pillars, we want to make sure that we've got good relationships across all sectors and businesses in particular, that they know they can rely on us to reach out if they're having issues with their retail service provider. From a regional connectivity, you will see us at times wanting to partner with organisations like tourism, where we can get the message out that things have changed or things are coming. So that's about regional connectivity and keeping people abreast of what's happening. Around our emergency management, it's good to let people know that we do work with the Northern Territory Government around emergency management. We do have equipment that we can deploy. So there's some feeling of security around connectivity, and we will try our best to keep people connected. And I'll let Haley talk about some other stuff that we do in the emergency management stuff in remote community. I'll let her rip in a minute around what infrastructure we've got placed around the territory, which may help some businesses that are around. And obviously we have Haley, who has a lot of good relationships with non-government organisations and non-for-profits around digital ability, scams awareness programs. So we have, I'll let you talk to it if you're better at it. It's your gig. So I'll have a break and I'll let Haley talk about the technology we've got around the territory around strengthening telecommunications in disasters and what she does around community work.
Hi everyone. So because we work with the NT government, but we're also the federal MLOs, so there's about 70 of us that work across all of Australia, and we can get pretty much deployed anywhere. At the moment, we've had the guys outside of Taree waiting for the floods to go down with our temporary satellites and also our technicians. So we're part of a big team and kind of get deployed all over the country. I also here in the NT me and Tim look after the whole NT, all of the Kimberleys and all of the islands. So we've also got emergency Wi-Fi points. There's over 70 scattered throughout the Northern Territory. Most of them are actually on remote schools because they are also adequate cyclone shelters and storm shelters. So they were put up in 2021, and the program has also just been refunded and extended by the federal government. So we're expecting even more comprehensive list of remote places in the NT that have this emergency backup. And it's on all the time. So anyone can go there at any time and actually get it, but it's specifically for more remote locations. And then in some bigger towns throughout, mostly in particular remote Indigenous communities, we have what we call our Blue Shift program, which is single point Wi-Fi's. again, they were put in 2021 during COVID for places where residents were completely cut off by places that, you know, had very insufficient mobile service or none at all. So we've got over 40 of those in the Northern Territory. And we have just through the First Nations Digital Advisory Group, we have got funding and put out community-wide solutions where the entire community is actually covered by a mesh network system that's filtered. It has turn-off times, but it's also there for anyone, you know, tourism, businesses, anybody can use this service. And we have quite a few of them. Our most recent one just about to be turned on is in Gallawinku. So myself and Tim and I in particular travel mostly out to the remote regions and work with organisations, agencies and organisations like yourself to inform, you know, run sessions, information sessions, but a lot around that connectivity literacy, you know, just deciphering and helping residents in more remote locations by travelling out there face to face and supporting them there as well. Yeah.
Guys do a lot.
So a lot of this is our busy time, like much of you all is dry season. So yeah, me and Tim are back to back until I think end of August at the moment.
Yeah. Well, then September I think we'll roll into going back out to the Kimberley region.
Yeah. So we're always out and about, and even with the muster truck, the emergency vehicle, we get to take that to community events with 2 big screens, you know, get the satellite working and emit community Wi-Fi for about 25 meters so people can come and hook up. So for example, we're going to Barunga, which is notorious when there's a lot of people there to have very low mobile reception. So we'll be there with Wi-Fi. So we take it to emergencies, but also get to take it to community events and offer that service as well.
Yeah. So no one will miss out on the footy.
Yeah. So we're streaming the footy if you're at Barunga, so you can come and see us. Yeah.
You've got the priorities there. I see that.
So one of the things that we also come across, people sort of go to their retail service provider for advice. One thing we've learned is that not all retail service providers are equal. They don't all offer the same product. So we have a check your address function within NBN. Because we're the wholesaler and we own the infrastructure, this site will actually show you your address and it'll show you what you're connected to. It will also point you in the right direction of checking amongst a range of different providers that you can connect to, and if any upgrades have happened in that period. So I just thought I'd throw that up there. It's a QR code that you can use. We take that QR code everywhere so we can check people's addresses. And if people are having issues, Hayley and I can, particularly like Barunga, we'll probably do a number of address checks and then we'll do health summary checks on people's premises to see that everything's running okay. So we can do some deciphering when we're out and about. So we try and be everything to everyone.
Yeah, taking a screenshot of this one now. Of course, you'll all receive the recording, but yeah, this is a great tool to have on file, on hand when they need it. So brilliant.
So that's pretty much us in a snapshot. Like there's a lot we could go through in more detail, but I just hope that sort of covers off on sort of a little bit about what NBN does, the different technology that we cover. Our responsibility is, you know, making sure that everyone will make sure anyone can get a connection, and how to go about checking what connectivity you've got. And, you know, if you are having trouble with your retail service provider, Hayley and I are here to provide support. So we can escalate issues. We also work closely and we met with Luke Gosling yesterday. So if they get residents, and that's not only for the federal members but also local members, if they've got constituents sort of having issues with the NBN, we have a electorate inbox where we have a team that will deal directly with sort of government relation and those sort of things. So they get escalated a lot quicker than people. So yeah, sort of sharing a little bit of tricks on how to get things done a bit quicker. It's a big beast of a business. It's huge. Yeah. So I guess I'll open it up if anyone's got any questions. And
of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to take yourself off mute. We're also monitoring the chat. So does anybody have any questions online? Give it a couple minutes.
Hi Gabby, it's Shelley. How are you?
Hi, Shelley. Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Gabby, we were on Sky Muster a couple of years ago and swapped over to another provider. With the Sky Muster system now, if we were to go back onto a plan, would that equipment be upgraded?
It, if you've still got it installed and it's working, it may not need to be upgraded, but if it's not working effectively, yes, it would be replaced. Sky Muster technology on premise hasn't really changed, but if it hasn't been used for quite some time, the NTD, which is the network termination device, is the correct term, which is the white box on the inside. May not work properly, but it should just fire back up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've just had a quick squiz online. Is there business plans for Sky Muster, or is it just a one plan fits all type thing?
It's now a one plan fits all. So that it looks like are you in Daly?
In Litchfield.
Litchfield.
Yeah.
Litchfield.
Your bachelor.
Bachelor. So there are 3 different plans on the Sky Muster now. So there's Sky Muster Premium, and Sky Muster Premium Plus. The Premium Plus would be the better one to get for a business because that's 100 megabytes down. Now, the upload speed on Sky Muster is still at the lower end of what we're seeing across the network, but it is a lot better than it used to be. So it's uncapped now. You're paying for speed, not data usage. That is a much better experience. You know, I'll be open and honest, there is still a lot of latency on Sky Muster due to the height that our satellites are up, and it's all due to having to transmit that at frequency. That hasn't changed, that's still the same, but the plans and data amounts are much better than they have been previously. So yeah, and we recommend people, if they have gone to another solution, which is not a problem for people to do, and everyone's going to be chasing the best technology, is to have that satellite connection as a backup. And because it's month by month plan, so you don't need to lock into a long-term contract.
I have another question, if I may. Telstra is about to link us to the tower in Bachelor. Does that mean I have the other option? What did you call it? Fixed wireless or something like that? Would that mean I have access to that?
No, that'll be mobile data. So that will be just through your mobile service, and Telstra do offer different options on how you can connect to data through cellular. And it's best to talk to your retail service provider about that one. But yeah, for you, there's Sky Muster is the NBN product available. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for your help.
No worries, Shelley.
Thanks, Shelley. That was great. Do we have any more questions from online? I feel like that's gonna wrap us up.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Tim and Hayley, for coming in. Like, it's so important for our members to know that, you know, we can work with NBN and there are the faces behind, and that you care enough about us to come see us too. So it's always really important to work with these relationships. So big thank you to you both for coming in today. Massive thank you to everybody who has joined us online. Of course, we'll send the recording out afterwards. And if you have any questions that do come up, please send them through and we can always pass them back on to Tim and Hayley. But yes, thank you everyone again for your time, and look forward to hopefully seeing you all soon. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Right, that. Thank you.